2020 at 6. I'm calling the meeting at 6:32, and I'm going to read the Governor Baker's information. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Southborough Trails Committee will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with the right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town's website, Town of Southborough's website at https://www.southboroughtown.com. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch or participate in the meeting may do so in the following manner by finding the meeting at https://www.southboroughtown.com/remote meetings. No in-person attendance of meetings of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on Southborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. So I will do a roll call vote on who is here. Tom McCoolier.
Here.
Satyendra Sharma.
Yes.
And Kat McKee. Thank you. So our first order of business is an unfortunate turn of events that I have not been able to get to the minutes the last two meetings, and I apologize, but as I've mentioned, I've lost power and had planned to do that over the weekend, and it's not possible. So Sati had sent me a draft version, and I will make sure those are ready for our next meeting. So. And they're important minutes, so I wanted to make sure we took some time with them because we're detailing information about the grant that many people may be interested in, so we want to get those right. Next on the agenda, Board of Selectmen. So after our last meeting, which was 11/24, we were contacted by, or I think I might have mentioned that during our last meeting, it was that day, I think, we were contacted by Board of Selectmen to provide updates at their 12/1 meetings. So I put together a quick slideshow. Well, actually nothing I do is quick, but I try to be concise. And what I did was, so what we'll do is we'll include that slideshow in our minutes for today's meeting. So those who may be interested can take a look at that. It's also included in the 12/1 agenda for Board of Selectmen package. So I went back to our last updates when we did back in 2018, and I thought it would be great to kind of dovetail those two. And I used what I said we would be working on at those 4 or 5 bullet points and use that as the framework for this presentation. So it went really well. And funny enough, well, not funny, but we hit everything we said we would do. We kind of hit on it. So I was able to highlight all the updates for the last 2 years. And so that went really well. And we got some good feedback from the board and positive response from most people on that. So what was really interesting was I included a slide from our Facebook page, the analytical piece of Facebook that studies how many followers you have versus likes on your pages, and it shows a direct, upward trend. We're surging, if you want to put it that way, just as our country is surging with the virus. But we've got the same look of our map, it's going up. So it was really positive, and good to see kind of that. And it's always nice to reflect back on what we have been doing, especially at the end of a year. To see how we want to kind of shape our future year. And funny enough, it was the same time of year that we did the update. It was like 12/4/2018, and we presented on 12/1/2020. So interesting enough. So any thoughts or questions on that? I don't know if anyone had an opportunity to see that.
I did watch it. I got a couple of things. I just this is I just want to put it in the minutes that we should also do a shout out to the DPW for helping us install a lot of things.
Yeah.
Just put that in the minutes too. They were very gracious, Karen and crew, to install some of our stuff.
Yes, and each time they do that, we send them a nice thank you email to the to Karen and the crew for all of their efforts. And you're right, from the kiosks, to everything else that they've helped us do. We are very grateful for them to help. Thank you, Tom.
Now, one of the questions you mentioned you were going to talk to Marty about some liability question. Was that around the scouts helping us on the trails, or can we talk about it in live meeting?
Yeah, I think we can. Yeah, absolutely. So there was a couple of items. So I've always worked with the understanding that the Boy Scouts have an umbrella policy, and the fathers that are trained to use heavier equipment do so. And I wanted just to make sure that that's okay, that we're doing that appropriately, and that we're not exposing the individual, the committee, or the town to any additional liability. So I wanted to get that clear guidance from them. And then how does it relate to other volunteers who have certifications for certain equipment? And what are the rules about them using certain equipment on the trail? And how does that liability, apply to those situations? I just want to get a clear understanding so that we're sharing the correct information.
Did they get back to you, or those are the questions you sent them?
Those are the questions I will be sending.
All right. Now, one question just maybe for my clarification. I think during the 12-1 meeting, there was some discussion about liability, and Mark Purple answered it, but most of our trails are not owned by the town of Southborough. They're owned by DBW or MWRA.
DCR, yeah, that's right.
Would it be under their umbrella? I guess since he only talked about it with the assumption that they're actually on Southborough land.
So the question is, because it's DCR owned land.
But it's granted to us for access.
Right, we have access. So what is the specific question? It's a good one.
I guess Mark mentioned his answer saying it's on I got the impression it was on Southborough land, so there's the town umbrella liability.
Oh,
but
yes.
In reality, it's not town-owned land, it's state-owned land.
Right, but I want to say that our public access plan, and we can go back to the public access plan, which would the one that we do currently have for most of the trails in Southborough, would specify exactly how that liability gets broken up. I'm pretty sure DCR would be like not liable, up to you guys. And then, like Mark Murphy mentioned, that during the CPC meeting, there's a recreational use liability waiver. For example, if you're not paying to use land and you get injured on that land, just using it for recreation, there's like a waiver of liability. The party who owns that parcel is not responsible. And I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not speaking correctly, but we'll get the exact language, and then we'll have that ready for any time that we're asked and we need to share that. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, I'll be just curious with some of those things to get a straightforward answer, like you said.
Yeah.
I mean, that was it. I mean, the other things, did we have any things for the ask for Representative Dykma and Senator Eldridge for their 12/15 meeting?
Yes, so you may have gotten the email from Mark Purple that said, if any committee has an ask, please let us know by Monday at noon. So I put our names out there to go ahead and put a placeholder for Trails to talk to the representatives about our need for a public access plan and how they could help. And I did share that we would be reaching out to them separately. So we may have an answer before that meeting, which would mean that we might not need to have that conversation, but we're on the list, if that's what I could call it, as far as, so we'll make sure that that conversation is discussed. Now, as far as how that meeting goes, I would like to make sure that, we've either given a complete script of questions or topics that need to be discussed, that it's not going through a third party who may not be as intimately involved in the conversation, so that the correct questions or ask is made. So I will make sure that we have representation. I'm certain the board's going to want to handle it. That's fine, but if we could be involved in whatever way we need to make sure the right information is requested, then that's that. And I had great intentions of writing the letter to Carolyn Dykema or Representative Dykema this weekend, but the weather had other.
Yeah, that's a bummer for you. That must stink. Losing internet must be tough.
It's beyond. I feel very selfish in saying this in our time of need for everyone who's experiencing trouble with the pandemic, but losing internet is essentially just sucking the oxygen out of the room. You stop dead in your tracks. You can't do anything. You just.
Can you not use your cell phone as hotspot for just?
Our cell phone doesn't have good service, so we were just able to get a bar where my husband could contact Verizon to say, please help. That's all we could do. So we have a good neighbor, and we are daisy chaining a situation, but I dropped like every 30 minutes yesterday, so we really didn't. Now I'm at the office trying not to suck in germs. So hope we have an appointment tomorrow, but the backup plan I was telling Melissa is if they don't come, we're going to go out and find a Verizon truck and just start bribing them. And this is a public meeting recorded. We're just going to bribe Verizon to come by and just please help us. We're just in a really desperate situation. I'm lucky to have work to go to, but so threw the weekend off and everything that I had plans for. So anyway, sorry for this.
I'm in the same way. Where I live, we have no cell service. Zero. We need the booster in our house to actually get cell. If we lose internet, we lose cell and TV and internet and everything.
It really makes you think about resiliency planning and being dependent upon one vendor in the world, Verizon, that is for everything we get from them. So I was really hoping that there was a Wi-Fi generator, like electric generator out there, but I'm not hearing that there is one. So until there is, I'm beholden to Verizon. Anything else?
The only other thing on 12/1, that meeting, I thought you did a great job. I don't know if anybody else watched it and listened. I thought you did a fabulous job.
Oh, thank you.
Where do you watch this?
You can go onto the YouTube. Just search on Southborough Board of Selectmen on YouTube, and it is there because I saw it twice.
Where do we post these the meeting recordings on the town site?
Yeah, if you go to the town homepage and you'll see a tab called virtual meeting.
Oh, okay.
And then under virtual meetings is the list of all the active meetings. But within the first paragraph, there's a YouTube channel. And that's where you can review all of the committee meetings and the board meetings and commission meetings on that YouTube page. And it's helpful to stay in touch. But yeah, one thing I do want to call it, and thank you, Tom, I appreciate that. But for those who didn't watch it, I did give you a big shout out, the entire committee, because of all the help and awesome work that you guys do throughout the years. So we couldn't be what we are today without everybody participating in the way that you do. So thank you so much in the time of this season where we're really grateful. I'm really grateful for having such an amazing committee. So thank you all for everything you do.
Now, there's one last comment I'm gonna make about the town meeting, and then we can move on. Is if I heard it right, Marty's pushing the decision about this bike committee until January. Did I hear that correctly?
I don't know exactly when he's doing it, but that would make sense because December is probably pretty busy.
I thought he pushed it all the way until January to discuss that within the selectmen.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not.
FYI.
But I think so. I've mentioned to Marty that we would like a role in the bike committee. I think it makes sense. There's a lot of synergies. So keep that in mind. That would be fun to get involved in.
Agreed.
Great. So so that's that. Then the installation of the map at Kia. So the Fayetteville Park. So we did a site walk, and I think most of you guys, you were all there. And so you saw the kiosk and the maps went up. And so Eric Hansen, the Eagle Scout who's responsible for that project, said he would be going out and installing the polycarbonate glass and the moldings. So once he does that, my husband and I will install the Southborough Trail sign up there. And that will be done. And that's good. I'm glad that went up, and excited about that finalization of that project. So
Hey,
thank you to Eric Hansen for that. Great.
not sure if you have non-rusting screws, but I do have some. Don't buy a box if you need some.
No, so the hardware came with the sign.
Okay, good. All
Yeah,
right, all right.
Thank you for reminding that. Actually, we have the historical markers off of Deerfoot. Those nice signs that Alex Flynn did were installed with non-galvanized screws, so they're rusting. And then what's happening is the rust is kind of draining down the signs. So if you do happen to be out there and want to replace, I think we will need a washer and the screw, and it probably needs to be the right size, but we should think about replacing those screws so that the signs don't continue to degrade, because that's such a nice project. And
It sounds like a fun thing to do.
yes, I love using hardware and tools.
Power tools.
Yep. Okay, so that's that. And then community letters of support. So forgive me because I forget what we said last meeting, but I think we were waiting on, so we have confirmation MAPC sent their letter, SVT sent their letter also, and the only outstanding ones, Northborough had 3 letters. They were ready, they were getting signed and being sent, and then we were just waiting on Westborough. So that's exciting that we were able to get the community support to reach out to DCR and encourage them kindly that a lot of people are interested in this trail. One question I have for you, the committee, is we could try one more step in addition to our legislators, is a online petition, and we could publicize it all throughout town and get as many signatures as we could possibly get and send that to DCR, because that's the residents speaking, right? So we have community organizations and towns speaking, but this is coming from the people. What do you guys think?
Can we do it off of the Facebook page?
We could publicize it on the Facebook page, but I've looked into two software, so change.org and I think ipetitions.com are 2 types of tools, free tools that we could use. I don't know if any one of you have any experience with any of those.
No, but it's a brilliant idea. Let's go forward.
Yeah, I think anything to, that would help let them know that it's a big deal for people. And honestly, I want to see how many signatures we can get, because we have 10,000 people in this town, and how many show up at town meeting? It's under 200. And our followers, we have, I don't know, what is it, 236 or 260 something, or whatever. And that's okay, because it's trending in the right direction, but I want more. I love tracking numbers, and I want a lot more. So I think my 2021 goal and ours could be to let's up those numbers and see how many people we can reach, and starting with this petition. So I think we're on the right track, where we've really, like I'd mentioned in the Board of Selectmen meeting, we've doubled our list for the e-alerts on the town website, which is significant in itself. So people, when we send out announcements through the town website, that list has grown a lot, and that was mainly from our Heritage Day. But I would really like to see getting more people involved as much as we can. And this year, I think, really brought a lot of people to the trails. So we're well positioned to continue on that good trend.
Some would say too many people.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Kat, speaking of that, could I have 2 minutes maybe at the end of the agenda just to bring something up around that?
Yes, please. Okay. So I'll put together, I will put together, should we vote on that? Should we vote to someone make a motion to proceed with doing an online petition and outreach to the community in support of DCR moving forward with the public access plan as one more step in that outreach?
Before we just vote on that, what's the wait? I guess if people come up to me and say, "Hey, I got the petition," so what's the bottleneck? Why hasn't it been open yet? What do we say?
Oh, well, there's a number of reasons. COVID. Another reason is DCR is I don't exactly know what DCR, other than there was a change of leadership And it normally, when you have a change in leadership in an organization, it does take time for that leadership to get up to speed on different initiatives. And we also don't know the competing priorities that DCR has. So that's our answer is DCR
Okay.
has a priority list, and it's on the list.
And we want to move up the priority list.
We're just trying to push it forward.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so hopefully, we can move things forward with that. But okay, so that's it for the this letters of support. Next is CPA funding.
Well, you said, do we need to vote on that before?
Oh yeah, sorry. Thank you.
Sorry.
So
I'd like to make a motion to consider and do a survey and a petition. Tom, help me here.
A petition to survey the community as a whole of their willingness to open up the aqueduct trail.
Thank you.
their support in doing so. Yep. Okay, does someone want to second it?
I'll second.
Okay, great. And all in favor, we'll do a roll call vote. Tom McCoolier,
Aye, yes.
Satyendra Sharma,
Yes.
and Isabel Murphy.
Yes.
Great. And Catherine McKee, yes. So that passes. Any discussion? We're good to go. Thank you. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll circulate that to the committee, and if you have any feedback, just send it individually back to me, and then I'll try to get it out. If I get internet tomorrow, I'll try to get it out by Friday, because what I'd like to do is get it out in advance of the vacation, of the Christmas holiday, because people tend to kind of space out a little bit and not check emails much. So we'll get ahead of the game, but this may go into early January, which is absolutely fine. Maybe people are motivated to change, right? That's the time of year they want to change. Here's an option and a way to help us move something forward by getting involved. Okay, so I have not heard anything from CPA as far as next steps. They had, I think they have a meeting on the 17th, but we've not received any email indicating next steps for us. So a couple of things that I think came up. I spoke to someone today that has experience with the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail and using CPA funds. And I asked the person if, it's actually my colleague who's president at Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, and I asked him if he said that community funds may not be used on a project where land is not owned by the town if they don't have like a forever license, for example. If that use of that land can be changed, right, from its initial intent, then the funds may not be used for that. There may be an issue with using the funds. So that's really the question I would have for CPC, is whether they have explored that as an issue with the coalition, the Community Preservation Coalition, who oversees the approval of projects and provides guidance to CPCs all over the state for funding projects. So that's one piece I'll bring up as a question mark. And I don't know if we could contact the coalition to ask that question and inquire, because I did try to research projects from the database to see if there were any other projects that were that involved, state-owned land, and I didn't. Nothing popped out, but they weren't giving full descriptions either, so it wasn't like I could really dig into some of those details. But any thoughts on that from anybody?
I think that could be a showstopper.
I will mention it to the member that I know when he's here and ask.
Ask for some guidance, which way to go.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to ask the committee when we're invited back on that specific question, just so we know, so that we don't have to continue to go down the path if we're on the wrong path, right? And that's fine.
Waste time. It's basically, if that's the rule and we can't do it, that's just
Right.
wasting time.
And if that's the case, then like I had said before, it's okay, because we've done a lot of the legwork that we can reuse, and then it doesn't mean that well, I was going to say we could probably try to go after other grants because our goal will be we need matching funds for the DCR grant in 2022, right?
Right.
We need 20% or whatever the matching funds to be competitive. I'll put a number out there. I don't know if that's exactly what you need. And so we'll need to put effort forth in 2021 to start to secure funds. But I think we may run into similar situations where, oh, you don't have a public access plan. Maybe we're not interested in funding that project. I don't know. And so I think we need to start thinking creatively about how to work with some of those challenges, and start getting, the board knows our issue. We shared with them our specific challenges. So hopefully there may be something that comes up and some solutions that will come up from that.
I'm just thinking out loud and just really futuristic. Just saying a magic wand happened and CSX allows us to use their railroad beds from Central Street Playground to downtown. That's private land, not owned. This same situation will come up if they deny CPA funds for fence, because you're going to need work on that, fencing, grading, et cetera, et cetera. That'll be a lot more expensive, but that we probably could hit in the same bottleneck as that.
Yeah, but wait a minute, was it private land or was it state land? Because the Burnett House is still private land, and we gave $875,000 to that.
Right, and that was to preserve the historic. That was for a preservation restriction, right? And it was to preserve the look and feel.
And money for them to restore the house, but they still.
Well, they could do whatever they want with it. We just gave them $1 million. Do what you want. Just don't divide it and tear it down.
Yeah, we don't own that land.
No.
Right. No, I remember, I know that, but I'm trying to think justifying, because I've talked about it with myself. I said self. Well, that must be because
Called pandemic. Yeah.
Well, no, it's the how. Yeah, right. It's the consequence of living alone. It's either self or kitties. Come here. But I thought that it would benefit the town to have a historic building preserved, just like the library. So that's a little different because that's owned by the town, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it is that's very curious.
We need some guidance on that. So
let me back up. Did he say that it was because it was state land, so you couldn't use CPA funds?
Nope, it was that you don't have a guarantee that you're going to always have access to that land, right? If you don't have this is for
a 99-year lease or whatever.
Then we already messed up with the Burnett House because we don't have a guarantee to that land. We've got right of first refusal.
No, we don't. But the deed restriction is they cannot subdivide nor tear down any of the buildings. That's what we paid $1 million for. They cannot subdivide that lot and remove the buildings.
But we still don't own it.
No, we do not own it. We just have they just cannot subdivide or tear down the historic buildings.
Which makes me
angry.
Makes me wonder, makes me want to do further research to determine if the information that you got was complete.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. This is what I think happened. If it is incorrect, and like I said, we need guidance from CPC for this.
Yep. Yep. So let's see what comes from that, from some of our questions and research, and then also if we are moving forward with this, I need to know the process by which we need to update our application to reflect the new numbers for the quote. And I want to make sure that I have a couple of more installation quotes to ensure that the numbers we're putting forth for that piece of the project is adequate. And I did get some recommendations from DPW. So I will be reaching out to a couple sign companies local that they've used to ask for some quotes on that. So that will complete.
One question, I'm looking at that CPC site. which head under this thing comes? Acquire, create, preserve, support, rehabilitate, or restore. Which kind of what is the head that
What is our
we are going?
category?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's open, it's recreation, which is a
Which is,
subsection of open space.
No, so no, recreation is okay, but there is the like acquire, create, preserve, support, or rehabilitate.
It's
So
create. I think we're creating a trail. Is
it's
that?
create.
Yep, I think so. Without looking.
Are we creating a trail? Are we creating a trail?
yes, it is creating a trail.
Right. So even though there's an existing access road, we're creating a trail. And by create trail, we're putting interpretive signage in, and we're putting, you know, some fencing that will protect the structure, and then, you know, creating the experience. And there may be some trail build out on the other side, on the east side along the tree line. We have to decide whether we're going to leave that grass or if we want to actually cut into the tread if with permission and kind of stone dust.
Yeah, we have to be very careful about the verbiage here. So the thing is, what this is that is support, clear distinction between support and create. You know, supporting is that you are maintaining, or maybe you are putting signage or something. Is that a create, or you are creating a new trail, or you are just updating a new existing trail? That's the thing.
Yeah, they're very clear on not doing any maintenance, you know.
Yeah.
So that's not what we're doing here. And even the installation of the fence is not considered maintenance. It's and other projects have had had similar type scopes and were approved, for example. But let's do a quick recap of the site walk. So thanks again, Isabel, for that really good suggestion. And I sent Andy Leahy from DCR a really nice thank you for his time, and again for bringing up all the really nice history, and that we would like to, you know, use a lot of the points that he brings up in our signage, because we really sense that that's going to be where we're heading. But even though we didn't have a large turnout with the CPC committee, we did have a member show up, and that was wonderful to have that member show. And I thought it was a good conversation, and it was good to, I think one of the biggest takeaways, I have to say, because sometimes I get caught in the details and can't see the forest for the trees, is Tom's suggestion of, in order to get around our issue of the really steep slope, entering off of Route 30, we could just push back the fence so we have parking up above that hill.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Which would be really pretty awesome. Now, our current project isn't exactly scoped for that. We don't have the fencing quote to do that, or yet full permission from DCR to do that. But that, I don't think we need to worry about that for our CPA application, because that can be our, if this application does move forward, it can be our supplemental project scope. If we
Yep, agreed. And I think it'd be really easy if we get like a bunch of scouts to dig out that little parking lot with some gravel afterwards. It's you know, the top part where you're saying on the left, there was no big trees, it's just gruff.
Yep. So that's really exciting if we could create a trail that all people could use, a wooded trail, not just a circle in a park, or that's fun too, but this gives, you know, it opens up the recreation opportunities to a diverse group that isn't currently being served here in Southborough.
Agreed.
So that's great. And then Sati, thank you. You've been doing a lot of legwork and researching some of the ADA stuff. So we'll leverage that for sure too. Great. Any other feedback on the site walk? Got in there in the nick of time. Whew.
Now on the site walk, I identified in my mind 3 key areas for the historical informational marker. I know, do we want to like at least put something on so we know how many signs we're going to be asking for?
Yes. So what I estimated, and let's talk about that for a brief moment. In the application, I estimated a main kiosk at the front at 142 Boston Post, and then a main kiosk at the other side, so that you're entering the 2 entry points, right? And then, so there were 8 signs total. So that's 2.
Okay, that should be plenty.
There were 2 over there, 2 on the connector. So that's 4. And so I think I guesstimated an additional 4 along the trail. Right.
That's plenty. Because it was like East Main, Valley, and then there was that old homestead, the one room school. Those are the 3 I thought were kind of interesting to me. I don't
So
know.
it was East Main, the 1-room school, and what was the second one?
Where Valley Street came in, Valley
What was
Road.
that's different than East Main. There was 2.
Yeah, it was East Main came in on your left, and coming down Valley Road, and right next to Valley Road was where that the foundation for the 1-room schoolhouse.
Great.
And then, like I said, another marker to talk about the reservoir and.
Yeah, the history of the reservoir. Yeah, and we can have the history on the kiosks too, right? So
there's some grandparents, maybe great grandparents, actually worked on it that live in town.
Yep.
Really?
I mean, I don't know if we could actually ever get that from the historical society or if there's a record, but there are people living in town that their grandparents or great grandparents helped build it.
Tom, I would love to explore that in terms of getting more information. Can you imagine those people, like who've got family history going on the walk?
Wouldn't that be awesome?
And
Because
then,
I think, Woody told me, I think Sue's grandparents, grandfather worked on it. I think he told me once. I got to ask him again.
would you check with her on that one?
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of stuff, again, if we were able to put it up on the website and draw direct correlation to people who were in town.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you. Good idea. And then I think there's an opportunity. There's some wetlands along the trail after you get past East Main, where the East Main Road comes in, where you could put a nice little bench and overlook so it doesn't have to be digging into the ground. Well, benches can just sit there they don't have to be, if they're granite, for example, they don't have to be embedded into the ground. So less disturbance is what I'm thinking. But we could put a little bench there and just sit there and, you could just take a little siesta and, wildlife. So there's a great opportunity for that. That's also not built into the application, but that can be a little project later on. So thanks again for all of that. I'm glad we did that because I don't think we would be comfortable scheduling a site walk in the near future if we had not got that in there just before the numbers changed drastically. So good timing. Okay. Anything else on that topic? All right. The Central Mass Regional Planning Commission, the interactive online regional map. No word from them on what's going on. So I know that they have been slightly delayed in getting that going. That was also a DCR Mass Trails grant that they were working with. So no new updates. I'm hoping that will come out in the next few months. Trails maintenance, fun times. So couple things. Partridge Hill has had some more activity, go figure. Eileen Sandberg emailed a couple pictures of another tree down on Partridge Hill. This is, I think, in addition to the dangerous tree that's leaning that needs some DPW assistance. Has anyone been on Partridge Hill since the storm last week or the storm Saturday?
No, I have not.
Well, I was going to go out this weekend, but you've heard what's happened, so I did not do that. So we will need to do an assessment. So what I was going to do is reach out on Facebook and see if our trail adopters are out there, would like to give us any updates, and then encourage the public to also share any updates of fallen trees. And today, Tom, you sent something for the trail off of Route 30, where the map kiosk is, that little triangle.
Yep.
Just down that way, there's a tree that's come down.
Yeah.
Branches. Did it look like that was a big project or something we could handle?
No, it's a smaller project. I was thinking the next time I go down there, I was thinking if I could just, it's all dead stuff. I was thinking just to see if I could pull it off.
Yeah.
I'll let you know the next time I go down there, see if I can actually just, manhandle it and pull it off. If I think we're gonna need to cut it.
or if you're alone, do you usually have your cell phone with you just in case something
No,
happens?
no. Big risk.
I just get nervous about doing tree work and, yeah.
I'll be on the ground.
So we have some work to do, and if we could, if you guys notice anything else, let me know, and we'll organize a plan. It might be that we can get some of it done. My husband's busy chopping up our own tree in the front yard, so I'm not gonna beg him yet to help. He needs to rest his arms. So that was a pretty.
I got a question for you. Who owns that land off of Partridge? Is that DCR or MWRA?
It's all DCR actually.
The reason I'm asking, because DCR, and even close to where you live, Isabel, they kind of like cleared out all the dead stuff with that big machine.
Yes.
No, they didn't. They brought in the machine. They took some things down, but they didn't do a lot. They didn't clear it away. I think.
Can we ask them to do it over there, DCR? Can we send them a letter saying this? I mean, every storm, there's something comes down over. It's all dead stuff over there.
You're right.
Is there work? Should we send a DCR a letter to maybe attention to Andy or whoever? Can they put that on their schedule to do the tree removal?
Yeah, maybe we could ask them to do an assessment of the area and gauge if if it would qualify for any work that has been aligning with what they've been doing for forest management.
Yeah, exactly. And we can even mention, in the last 6 months, 8 months, there has been several large 2 feet in diameter trees that came down.
Well, it's every year for sure.
Yeah.
At least once or twice a year. Yeah.
Because that's going to happen until all the dead stuff is gone.
And it's almost there. I mean, it's almost a field. Okay.
Oh, Isabel, they didn't do anything by your house back there?
Not really. In fact, well, we're being recorded. No, we did just have a major tree come down, but it didn't come onto the trail. It's off the trail by about a foot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but it's still walkable.
Yeah. It's crazy. It seems like more trees are coming down. Maybe I'm just paying attention.
They're all dead. No.
Yeah, they're all dead. It's just
exactly to Tom's point. There hasn't been any forest management, so everything's been choked from all of the vines, and they're dead.
That's horrible. Okay, so that's trail maintenance. We can in 2021 get back to finalizing our maintenance plan and putting it on the site, so that's ready. And then we had some takeaways as I was reviewing some of the meetings, following up with DPW and seeing if they could add to their plow list Route 85, and following up with the trustees to see if they could add Route 30 / Old Northborough Road to their plow. And if not, can we use volunteers in town? Because as we're becoming more snowy, it would be great to have access to some of those trails and then let people know, because it would be the first time that we've actually helped to maintain some of the parking in town during winter. And and it'd be good for people to know that. And it would be nice, like, not this month, but when we do, if we ever have snow again and have enough base, I mean, what do you guys think about hosting a snowshoe hike?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, and we can just keep it in the open where, on the Sudbury Reservoir Trail along Beals, that whole stretch or something, something simple.
Do you have a pair of snowshoes? Which brand do you guys recommend?
So I have a couple here. It depends on your sport. Like if it's just general.
General, some uphill, some downhills, but basic, not a flat trail, but sometimes you need to go up and down. So I want the back cleats in it, the dig.
Okay, so I have some, when I got into winter hiking a couple of years ago, I did a lot of research, and I used Black Friday as my launching pad because I got a lot of good deals. But I have some, I forget what the brand is. I'll send you a couple links to some.
Okay, if you could take a picture of yours, I'd like to see the strap around your boot and what's underneath it for the cloth.
And these there's Tubbs, I know, is a brand name, and there's the other one. If it's not Tubbs, it's the other name, but I can't think of it at this moment. But I would not recommend the brand, the style I got, because even though they're high end, and that's not a gloat thing, but I purposely bought good shoes because I was hiking up mountains, and it was a survival thing. Like, I will die or survive based on the quality of the shoes. So I will buy a pair of shoes. That's the best marketing you can have, right? You buy for survival
Yeah, try LL Bean. Maybe.
Are you saying you would have died with them?
without them, right? So, but the problem is the straps come off, and for
Right.
the price I paid, they have no business, but they're known to have that problem. The later versions don't. They've fixed that issue, but I got unlucky. So yeah, I'll send you some from that, but that would be fun. I think town people would be, and actually another trail would be good for is the Bay Circuit Trail, Sati, your new favorite one.
That would be a good challenging one too with snowshoes because it goes up and down and it has a slope and stuff. That'd be nice.
Yeah, and we could even organize if folks wanted to do a cross-country ski, that Bay Circuit Trail is really flat. I mean, there's a couple of little sections that are a little hilly, like you're saying, and they give you a little speed. And if you're not careful, you fall over like a turtle. It's fun. It's still fun.
Do we want to talk about winter? Do we want to open up another winter photo contest or is it too soon?
Let's have winter turn. It's December 21st, right? So maybe I would think maybe early January. What do you guys think? That way we stay away from the holidays, which, people seem to, and then we might have snow. It would be great if we could get some snow.
Yes.
And then jump on that chance and be like, okay, guys, go out and take pictures. Let us see what you got. What do you think?
There we go.
I like it.
that
I
idea.
like it.
Yes.
Yeah. Because otherwise you're just taking pictures of dead trees or everything that dead. It's like, woohoo, yeah.
Brown.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, so then this next topic, town-owned properties and capital planning committee requests for input. So the capital planning committee, we spoke with Joe from the capital planning committee a few meetings ago, and he brought up in an email that Lisa Braccio, one of the board of selectmen, selectwoman, had put together a PowerPoint of all town-owned properties. And I think he was reaching out to us to explore, like, is there any interest in any of these properties for, I'm thinking trail use. A lot of the properties were smaller parcels, which there's nothing wrong with that other than it's hard to, unless you go in a circle, to make a trail on a really small parcel of land. So what I will do is I will circulate that to the committee and get your thoughts. You start thinking about what, if there's anything we can do there or suggest there or make recommendations for use of that type of stuff. So that's really all I have for that piece. 2021 planning. So we can just bring this topic up and plant the seed for our next meeting. Let's start to think about what we want to accomplish in 2021. A few things off the bat. We obviously know our current project is the Peninsula Trail, so we can continue to go down the CPC funding or CPA funding until we don't continue. And then we can look for other trail grants. Now, there will be the Choate Fund grant will be coming around again if they're doing the same thing in early spring. So that was the one that funded our Southborough Trails signs and Kia, the recycling receptacles. So are there any little projects that we want that we could use that to help fund? That might be something we could do. And then we have the other option is connecting the Aqueduct Trail off of, now that the Bay Circuit Trail Burroughs Loop connector is done. The Aqueduct Trail overlaps that until you get to a point along the ridge where it takes a sharp right and then it connects to the Weston Aqueduct on Pine Hill Road. So we could reach out to MWRA and ask them if we can start the permit process for that, and develop a plan. And then the only build out, we'll need to do some abutter outreach because it's near a house or two, but we'll just need to start that conversation, and we might be able to do that next year. I think there'll be some trail build out, but it's such a small section that, given the level of effort it took for the loop, the connector trail, that I don't think it seems feasible that we would be able to do that in 2021 if we had permission. But speaking of MWRA and the 8M permit, I want to bring something up I was thinking about. So we submitted for the Peninsula Trail, back to that topic, we submitted an 8M permit request to MWRA for the Peninsula Trail because they own a sliver, right? They own the section of near Stony Brook Road, near the actual dam where the houses came down. They own that piece, right? And so my question is, can they move forward with their 8M permit as a way of encouraging DCR to move forward with theirs? And they're a big state entity, and look at all of that weight they could help shift around. And
It
Like-
doesn't hurt. Yeah.
unless they're waiting on DCR, because DCR has the bigger portion of the trail. But
What's wrong with asking?
yeah, I mean, I think we've already put in the application in back in 2018 to both of them, right? The request. So we could just tee that back up and say, I could reach out to Sean Nevin from MWRA and say, hey, Sean, by the way, MAPC said that there's, MWRA has funding for 2 signs for the aqueducts. So I wanted to confirm that if that's something that we could, how would we leverage that? What we understand is the opportunity there. And then is there an issue with the 8M permit and MWRA moving forward with that as a way of maybe encouraging DCR? And if they're open to moving forward, can they put a good word in for us at MWRA? Maybe that's the body that could help move things forward in a faster way than maybe even legislators.
Yeah.
So
And agency cooperation.
yeah, so let's try to move that forward too. And then for other plans for 2021, I think we if we have any Eagle Scouts come up, that would be great. We've put the feelers out mid-year, I think, this year, so they're aware, and I've been in touch with Jim Green, one of the and we recently Isabel coordinated with Troop 92, Phil LaBelle, he's the project manager coordinator for them. So maybe someone will come up, and we've got the stairs on Route 30 on the opposite side of where on the Sudbury Reservoir Trail, where near Lynbrook, that area up there by Northborough Road, off of, like, if you're coming off of Beals and you're heading west, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Along the
Are you
Oakland
up?
Tunnel,
Yep.
Yeah.
and you cross the road and you have those stairs, the mile markers.
Uh-huh.
Are you all the way down by Limbrook by then?
Well, it's before Lynbrook.
Oh, yeah, I know. So you go, then it goes by the Ageezy's, Diana Ageezy's house. You mean right there? Sorry.
County,
Yeah, but you're talking about
I
putting
know what you
stairs
mean.
on the other side.
Yeah.
where the mile markers are. You remember the mile markers?
You know,
'cause
yeah.
you were-
You're saying,
By Diana Ageezy's house.
Okay. County. We'll put that on the map, right? Okay. So that's something we can do. And if anything else, anyone thinking of anything else that's been missing or we could enhance on the trails, that would, aside from our mile marker project that
The
Tom.
only one I would say is, and I say this all the time, is to connect the chestnut to the town forest. Better signs so we can
Yes.
get parcels.
Yep.
that would be great.
Yeah.
I know it crosses the street there, but I go down there and I'm like, is this private property? Is it not?
You mean the little side trail off of Wood?
Yeah, one of them goes to like a vernal pool.
Yeah, Woodland.
Further towards the Mass Pike, I go into the woods there all the time, and they have the big rocks and stuff. And it's like, it seems like I see a lot of trails, footprints that kind of like head towards Woodland Road. I just like to connect the two, because instead of I always do the same thing with the bales with the dogs. I mean, Chestnut Hill, but it'd be nice if I could just go into the
You're
town.
talking about Breakneck Hill.
Sorry, Breckneck. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so on Breakneck, just so I'm clear, there is the little side trail with a vernal pool, right?
Yep.
That goes from Woodland to Breakneck, that little trail. And then the big rocks, that's on a side that's closer to the pike, right?
Yep.
And connect exactly what though?
Doesn't it connect somewhere? Goes down to Woodland Road? Down to
Near
the
the rock?
forest?
Oh,
Yeah, go around the rock, and the vernal pools say it's over here. Then you continue the trail, the Breakneck Farm, and then you get the big rocks and stuff. You're in the woods again.
Oh, that doesn't connect to the forest. That one doesn't.
That one does? Which one?
Near the big quarry, the old quarry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't connect to the town forest. That section does not. But the vernal pool one, what we're lacking is when you get to the Woodland Road, you're like, where's the town forest?
Well, even getting to Woodland Road, because it kind of like ends at the vernal pool. At least in
Oh, I was just there the other day. It bends, but you can't really tell. So I agree, like a reassurance marker,
yeah.
marker
Yes.
can happen there. I agree. And I'm on the stewardship committee who oversees that. So I'll bring that up. And I'm very tempted to go out and nail an arrow on that, on the sign this way to town forest. So I did bring up the issue about that you brought up about making that more clear. So yeah, definitely. And so so I'll continue to work on getting that improved signage and get that little marker up. Okay, open space recreation plan related goals and objectives. So Judith Watson from the Concom reached out. It was actually the day we were doing the presentation for Board of Selectmen, and she asked for an update for the open space recreation plan because of the priorities that were listed in the plan to ensure it wanted a 2020 update from us and a 2021. What do you need from Concom on these areas? Because Concom is listed as the responsible party, but we're listed as like an affiliate party or a somewhat responsible party. So it's really all the priorities are the things that we've been working on. So I told her that we were providing an update to the board and that I would share that with her as well. So the good news is we've been working on most of that stuff. And I think there is one thing, Tom, and you may remember this too. There's one piece that we haven't really done that's coming out in the master plan, which again isn't the open space recreation plan, but it's related in that. So there was an idea that came from the master plan committee meeting that it would be nice if all of the land trust in town, everyone who owns open space like Salf and Chestnut Hill and the town were to get together and have some collaboration about how we manage the trails or how we manage activities, and just kind of some collaboration so that we're all on the same page. And so I think there is an opportunity of one of the goals to maybe do that. So I think I'm going to respond to Judith and let her know what we have been doing and what we can kind of see moving forward in 2021. And I'll report back anything that comes out of that conversation and how that lines up with our 2021 goals. And so we'll make sure that that topic is incorporated into our piece.
Now, would we be going through her to get the conservation, because we're in wetlands for the fence and stuff? Do
Yeah.
we have to then go through her?
We would work with Melissa on the details, and then we would issue a permit that would go in front of the Concom, and we would have a public hearing, I think, or 3 or 5 or however many they have per notice of intent. It's a more in-depth process. So we would be in front of them in that way. So actually that's a good point. But it's not related, but it's kind of related. So I think just giving a heads up may be something of a good thing to do. Thank you. So yeah, that's all I got there. Any questions or thoughts? The development of the 5-year plan. So this is kind of, we don't have a formal development of a plan. So I think this is a great thing we can always aim to do in the beginning of the year when we're all very motivated and planning our own lives to plan for committee stuff. So maybe we can try to put together a 5-year plan. I think this will also help us. If I'm not mistaken, there may be some questions in the DCR Mass Trails Grant application about 5-year plans. What are your plans? How does this support your current 5-year, your current plan? So we want to show how the project that we're proposing will help advance our overall objectives. I think they want to see that type of synergy. So we could try to put something together, and it doesn't have to be well, let's put it this way, it will never be as detailed as the open space recreation plan or the master plan. And it can be as simple as, some bullets by year and trying to keep it manageable so that we are not afraid of the work that has to go into it and that we can easily update it annually and also use it as a guide for where we're going. And then when we provide annual updates, we can link to that plan as well. So it'll all tie in together with the master plan objectives, the open space objectives, which will then funnel into our objectives. And then other grant opportunities, Tom, I know that was my bad I sent it out to the committee and Tom LaFlame's name is Tom. So he got it and not our Tom. So I apologize, Tom, that was my fault. So I don't know if I had a few minutes to look at it. I glanced at it and felt a little overwhelmed by it.
I did too. I read it a couple of times after you sent it. I don't think anything in there I live in the gray area. I'm really good in the gray area. I didn't see that much gray area in there. A lot of that stuff, if we actually had authority from CSX to use their rail line, we could use it. If we had the access, we could use it. But what we currently have, I can't see of any creative gray area that I would say let's apply for it.
Okay, so I'm not feeling like we're going to miss an opportunity.
No, I like I said, I read it twice and it just doesn't seem, even if there's any trail that comes off of like the train station, we could use it.
Yeah.
But I can't, I didn't think of any creative ideas how we could use that grant right now. I think in the future, if some of those things happen, we could definitely use that grant.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any that we could stand on today.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for taking the time on that. So we'll keep our eyes open and ears open for opportunities that will come up. And, maybe what we could do, we keep saying this and looking, it's not always easy unless you're actively looking. So perhaps there was a Trails Conference workshop on grant writing, and the presenter provided some resources of land trust and such of local organizations in Massachusetts that provides grants that may not always be on our radar. So perhaps as part of our 5-year plan, we can develop a system, links of usual grants and places to look, and then we can make assignments and have people kind of keep an eye out for those types of things so that each month someone can come back and say, okay, I've done the grant search and I found something or I haven't found something. And it sounds like we're getting more opportunities coming our way. People are sharing them with us. So that's a good sign that people are looking out for us and their eyes and ears are open as well. So I think we're working with a lot of different groups in town that we're all kind of pulling for the same thing. So that's helpful. And EDC has shared some stuff, with us too. So those are nice when people are looking out for you. So, and I would really encourage, I haven't been looking at the chat or anything. Does anyone look at that?
I do once in a while. I don't have chat. I can't see the chat, but I know. Hi, Sam. Sam is on.
Hey, Sam. Yeah, I feel bad because if someone ever raises their hand, it's going to the list. So I apologize for all past meetings where I've ignored everybody. But so whoever's listening, this should be really great if the town had a part-time grant writer. I think that person would pay for their salary in a month or two with the grants that they could pull in for the town. So it would be really nice if one day in the future we could have a part-time grant writer just to help all the different boards and orgs who are in the same boat. Okay, so that's that. Website updates, we've got no new updates other than the required postings. So the stewardship committee, there was an individual who reached out and asked about putting signage at the Breakneck Hill kiosk to encourage mask wearing per Governor Baker's, is it order number 55 that encourage people or mandate people wear masks even in public places now. So that would include trails and outdoor activities like that. So what I will do is I was inspired by Isabel's resources over there. I bought a laminator. My indoor tool. So I wanted to practice making some signs so I was going to put up some signs on our kiosks just to encourage mask wearing, even if you're on the trails, when you're near people and such, and I was going to reference the site so that it's kind of an open-ended sign that we don't have to change every time something changes. We'll just let them refer back to the website for specific regs or the most recent regs, so that it's kind of the sign will last a while without having to update it each month. Although I would not mind laminating every month for the next few. Get my practice. But yeah, so anything else on that? From anyone of you, have you guys been out there? Are you comfortable out there when you're passing people? What are your thoughts? How is it working out for you?
I use Breakneck a lot. I'm probably, I hate to admit it in an open meeting, but I am guilty sometimes of forgetting my mask. I put a few in my pockets of my winter coat, and if I don't bring that winter coat, I forget it.
Yeah, it's hard.
And like go into the field and do the big arc around and stuff like that.
Anyone making comments to you or giving you the stink eye?
No, they don't. Nobody. I bring Winston, and everybody's like, "Can I pet your dog?"
It's the icebreaker.
I know, and I'm like, sure, like here you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm probably guilty 60. No, not 60. I'm probably guilty 25-30% of the time, just because I take the wrong coat. But I would say half the people wear the mask there. I mean, like I said, sometimes I am guilty of that.
Yeah.
Put it on the, mask.
But nobody has really, pulled a Karen or anything like that.
I was very impressed, I guess this weekend. Yeah, before the snow started, the number of people on the trails that all had masks. And if they didn't have them on, they either had them in their hand or they were close by.
Yeah, they put it right there in their coat.
Yeah. I got snaggled at St. Mark's. I had my mask, but I was on St. Mark's on the trails with Rory, and a representative of St. Mark's stopped me to thank me for having him on leash and remind me that my mask was below my nose. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm not kidding. It was from 15 feet away.
Wow.
Okay.
Why not we put this thing on our website that,
Oh, yes. Thank you, Sati. I meant to say that yes, I need to update the website. I'll do that too. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes. Fun times. And I can put we can do something on Facebook too, just a friendly reminder. Let me ask you this, like, I don't want to make light of wearing masks, but I also want to approach it in a friendly way, right? I want to, I saw a fun sign today, which was, it was kind of just a lighthearted reminder, just as you've seen the lighthearted reminders of picking up after your dog. I want to be serious with a serious message, but at the same time, I'd like the tone to be a friendly tone, versus a "you better or else" type of tone. Does anyone have an opinion on that? And does that take away from the seriousness of the message if we try to keep it friendly? And lighthearted isn't the right word, but you get where I'm going with that. Like a tone that's not a "you better or else." It's an encouraging. It's important doing it for others, but at the same time, I'm not looking to be a dictator. Any thoughts on?
No, I agree with that. They have a lot of funny ones. Maybe I'll take a screenshot or something. There's a lot of clever, funny ones.
Yeah, I think that kind of it changes the mood a little bit, and you can get a same message across with a different approach. Cool. Anything else that we haven't talked about? Oh, by the way, so Jim Hegarty had shared an open meeting law violation that a ruling had been passed along about organizations that put on their agendas, board reports or member reports or, anything else we want to talk about, report that isn't a specific item. So I've started to remove that line item from our agenda, which is anything, proper business before the committee. I'm starting to take that off because the open meeting law is meant to, you need to be specific about your agenda. And that's why you wait until, as close as you can to the time to post it. So you get all the information you need, as specific as it is. Just so you know, we've started to do that in a way of helping to comply with that. But if we are able to revise our agenda up to the very last, as long as someone's there to post it. I think you can do it the day of. I've seen that happen as well. So if last minute things come up, it's okay that they do. Just let us know and we'll repost the agenda. I don't mind doing that as many times as we need to comply with that. Okay. So should we talk real quick about next meeting and then go home? And I think that concludes our meetings for 2020.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. When I was looking back at, did you send some pictures? Thank you, Sati. I was looking back at just to tally our numbers. This year we might have met. This might be our 15th meeting. So thank you for everyone for hanging in there. I know there was a couple times we met twice, like in April, we were doing the grant stuff. And then in October, some of the, and maybe September, the CPC stuff. So CPA stuff. So thank you for hanging in there. But January. So, okay. So there's a CPC meeting on the 13th of January. I wonder if it makes sense to meet before that, because if we are invited to the 17th, December 17th, and we can talk about it before the next one. So that would be, it's a hard week, the first week of January, the first full week of January, or the Tuesday. So how's the Tuesday or Wednesday, the 5th? Hey, Tom, do you happen to have the master plan meeting agenda? Meeting?
Hang on, I will go look at that.
So if we stay away from Wednesdays, we should be okay. But I kind of fear suggesting January 5th because all of us are getting back to work and it's probably going to be a busy week. I don't know. Is that a true thought or a cat made up thought? Would it be better to focus on maybe the 12th, January 12th, which is a day before the CPC meeting?
I'm indifferent. For those dates. I don't see the CPC meeting in June, unless my calendar does not go up to 2021 yet.
Oh, master plan, you mean?
Sorry, master plan. I don't see anything on any Wednesday, the 6th.
Okay. So we know we're going to probably meet on Wednesday. So let's stay away from Wednesday proactively.
I mean, if you want to stay away from that first week, like you're saying, coming back, I mean, are we okay with a Monday meeting if we have the Zoom?
Yeah, Monday the 11th.
I mean, I just putting that out there, but
yeah, I could do it.
And so that gives us at least 2 days before the 13th for that meeting.
Yep. Okay, that sounds good. Let's do January 11th. And yeah, and so then I will I'll go ahead and reserve that. So they have enabled 3 Zoom meetings at a night. So they've expanded their license, which is really good because November and December got very competitive. It was like crazy competitive. So anyway, but thank you everyone. And so I will send you the petition. So if you could give me feedback on that, that would be great. And I'll get that out as soon as possible. It'll be a few days, but yeah, so end to 2020. Yay. All right. Thank you, everyone. And talk to you later.
Oh, we have to call it
yeah.
legal.
Oh, thank you. Who's making a motion?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
Second it.
That's Tom. Second. And let's do a roll call vote. Our final roll call for 2020. Tom McCoolier.
Yes.
And Satyendra Sharma.
Yes.
And Isabel Murphy.
Yes.
And Catherine McKee. Yes. All right. Awesome.
Happy holidays, everyone.